Good afternoon and welcome to Old Boys of Pretoria Boys High School. My name is Stephen Burrows, class of 91, ex-pupil, ex-teacher and former parent. And I'm joined today by a man that I think most of you will be familiar with now, Chris Oldnall, class of 2005 and currently Deputy Headmaster of Pretoria Boys High School. Chris, welcome and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Mr. B. Thanks for having me. Really excited about being here today and excited about what we're launching.
So we're sitting today, and we're coming to you today from Plato Volley in Brooklyn, which is owned by an old boy called Andres Pretorius, and we're very grateful for him for allowing us to make use of this facility today. And so the whole idea behind why we're here today is, as you know, Chris has been involved with the South African Hall of Fame, and they've been putting together a program to put together scholarships, sport-based scholarships to talented but under-resourced young men at Pretoria Boys High School. As you know, currently there's 33 young men on this program, running through the program. We know too that the impact of these young men in the school, not just from their participation in the various sports, but also in terms of the additional coaching that's been put in, as well as coaching infrastructure and support infrastructure around that, has had an immediate impact on the school. Tell us a little bit about some of the impacts that have been made.
I think the most obvious right now is if you have a look at the current under 14 and under 15 rugby performances, the boys are producing some outstanding results. I think that's, it must be attributed to a number of things, but one, we're able to offer talented boys without or with less or limited resources the opportunity to attend the school. But then on top of that, there's these additional coaches. So with the additional SNCs that we have available to us now, Lawrence Stewart's been able to bolster his program, and then it obviously isn't only directed at rugby. We're seeing a huge impact on our athletics results. We've been able to give a lot of opportunities to boys who are talented athletes, and I think from a coaching perspective, the fact that we're able to run off-season programs because of the additional coaches. So I mean, it's multifaceted. Talent, coaches, SNC assistants. It's quite a broad spectrum, and I mean, it's fantastic. And we know we're going to grow the program because the results are speaking for themselves.
Yeah, it's been incredible, and I think anybody who's been following the school's results anyway this winter will see that the impacts not just on the rugby field but certainly even on the athletics track have been remarkable. Tell me, what is the target for 2026 in terms of scholarships?
The program will grow to an excess of 55 boys for 2026, which is a massive number, which means I think over 40% of the boys at the school on scholarships will be through the South African Hall of Fame partnership.
Incredible. I think it goes without saying that this program is having such an impact that people are actually from far and wide are wanting to get involved in this, people who actually have no association with the school whatsoever. Tell me, in a nutshell, what is the relationship between the South African Hall of Fame and Pretoria Boys High School look like? What is it? How does it work?
Okay, so in a nutshell, the South African Hall of Fame have partnered with Pretoria Boys High School with the goal and the intention of providing boys with little or less resources, giving the opportunity to attend the school. But I think you need to look at that package. So it's not about just making sure that these boys can attend the school. So some boys we're looking at covering boarding and tuition, other boys it is just tuition. But then they also evaluate these boys. So we look at their literacy and numeracy output to ensure that they're actually capable of coping at Pretoria Boys High School. Then if we're picking up that these boys are maybe not going to cope, systems are put in place to assist those boys to do well in the environment. Then I think what I really enjoy about it is that we're now looking at medical aid benefits as well. So the MediHelp have partnered with the South African Hall of Fame, which means these boys can receive a medical aid. That's a first. There's no school in the country that's running a scholarship program that's able to provide the boys with medical aid. Then beyond that, you're looking at covering tours, which is a massive expense. There's kit with that, there's clothing, there's stationery. So if you're looking at a boarding and tuition as well as tours, stationery, and the list goes on, medical aid. So I like the fact that it's holistic and you're looking at the boy in his entirety. Then the South African Hall of Fame have a young man named Andre. He comes to the campus or comes and visits the school every Friday to visit these boys. So they have follow-up sessions where every Friday they get together in room 5, and then with that comes additional evaluation and really building building and harnessing a relationship with the boy and assisting them. And I think the other thing that's important to note is that some of these boys live in townships or really are less privileged. Hall of Fame then will purchase food for these boys' families, and in the holiday drop food off at these boys' homes. So I mean, it's next level.
Yeah, I mean, would it be correct to say that this is probably the most thorough, intense scholarship program in the country in terms of what it offers to the pupils that are on it?
Yeah, actually, I'm quite proud to say that that's exactly what it is.
Now, that's incredible. So, how do we get involved as Old Boys? Now, each of us have had the school, at some level, impact on our lives. From a career perspective, just from the people we've become, from the kind of human beings we've become, from the career paths we've followed. How do we get involved as Old Boys? And that's what I'd like to talk to Chris about today. So, we're going to use these 3 cups to demonstrate typically how you, as a Old Boy of Pretoria Boys High School, can get involved. Chris, let's start with the grande or the large, the extra large. Tell us a little bit about what that represents in the grand scheme.
Okay, so Old Boys who are in companies or who administrate the company's SCD, CSI or BE spend have the opportunity to channel their company's SCD, BE, CSI and channel it towards the South African Hall of Fame initiative, which means they can provide a boy the opportunity to receive the education at Pretoria Boys High School. And then the South African Hall of Fame work with a consultancy, and they can provide you with bespoke solutions to best get the value of that spend, which we know goes towards the boys in the school.
So this is typically money that companies have to spend legally. It's a legal requirement. And typically companies will give this money to a consultancy, and it goes to some cause that really most people don't actually even know where it goes to. Whereas through this initiative, as a company, you can see exactly where the money goes, because the benefactors of the money are going to be at Pretoria Boys High School. In fact, I think it would also be fair to say, Chris, that one of the things we'd like people to do is to be able to get involved with the boys that they are helping contribute towards by getting involved with them, meeting with them, taking an active role.
Yeah, we do have, so some of the companies that are channeling their spend do want to have a relationship with the boys, and there we have Struan Campbell, and he's taken on that role. That was what he had asked. And then we have other companies who choose to rather just, they say that they know where the money's going, they know it's for a good cause, and they aren't necessarily hands-on. But yes, I mean, we'd love it. If individuals want to be hands-on and be involved, then that option's always available.
So this clearly represents the biggest single contribution that you as an Old Boy could make. If you own your own business or are a partner in a business or have a say over where your spend goes, this is the single biggest one. Let's look at the next cup, the medium size. Tell us about that. How does that work?
So your medium size, you're looking at once-off donations. So an individual who maybe receives a bonus or an inheritance, and he decides that he wants to make a once-off contribution to the non-profit, and then that way we can channel that sizable donation into the legacy program as well.
That's excellent. And that really is, although we're pitching this and we're talking to you as Old Boys about it, it is something that, in fact, many people who have no association to school have gotten involved in. We've got parents whose kids went to other quite well-established boys' schools nationally throughout the country, and they just love the program so much. They love what Chris and Piet have done through the Trilogy Swim, that they've given out of their company's own once-off donations to make a contribution towards this. So it's really easy for anyone. But the one I'm most excited about is the third cup, the small cup. In terms of what happens here every day in the coffee shop, probably most of what gets sold over the counter is this, and I think that's why we're focusing on this. It's small, but it's powerful. Tell us a little bit about the small cup.
Okay, yeah, so that's the one we're most excited about, because you and I both know that multiple small amounts or regular small amounts coming in actually have the biggest difference. So I mean, this is the opportunity for individuals to sign up on a 12, 24, 36 or even longer debit orders, and you can donate 50 Rand, 80 Rand, 100 Rand a month. And the idea there would be that we had multiple Old Boys who are prepared to sacrifice a cup of coffee, and essentially make a contribution which they may see as small, but it is the most significant. And the more individuals we have doing that, the larger the impact. And I mean, I know I'd sacrifice a week's worth of coffee if I knew what difference it's going to make. That's because I'm living it firsthand and I'm seeing the difference it makes. So that's the one we really want to hit hard. I want to see all Old Boys, because it doesn't matter how young you are. If you can cough up $50 a month, yeah, man, I'll be pumped. And that's the one we really need to drive home.
So I think a lot of the times, I mean, I know I felt that way, you know, shortly after having left school. You don't feel like as an old boy who's new to the market, who's new in the world working, you can make a difference, because normally these contributions are aimed at substantial ones that make a big difference, and they're acknowledged as such. But we're really keen on this one, because this is somewhere that whether you're leaving school next year, or you doing your articles still, or you've got 3 kids and paying school fees yourself and a bond and you can't afford those, but you really want to get involved. This is how we see the easiest way for an old boy to get involved. It's a simple debit order. You sign off and you choose your period, and it just comes off, and you know, your family don't feel it, because all it means is you giving up a cup of coffee a month. And I think it's such a small sacrifice, but such a powerful statement that you're making when you do that. The power that sits in here is the numbers behind it. You know, the more guys that sign up over a period of time, it's an annuity income. It just keeps coming in every month. And I don't need to do the math for you. You can go and do it yourself. But you can see what the scale is. If 5,000 or 6,000 old boys signed up for this option, 50 Rand a month over the next 48 months, what that would mean to the Hall of Fame initiative.
Look, I mean, for me, we had the most incredible old boys dinner last week, Saturday. And I think the message that was driven hard was that we actually need to take action. And I think the fact that we're launching this shortly after what was an incredibly inspiring evening, I really hope that the old boys who attended that dinner, the old boys who've been reaching out to me via email or via WhatsApp or Facebook, that you really take note of that third option, which is the most important option. I'm at the coalface, I'm seeing it firsthand, I'm seeing the difference that we are making at Pretoria Boys High School and to these boys and their lives, and we're changing lives. And if you want to get involved, if you want to contribute, really that's what I want to happen, because we need everyone's help, we need everyone to commit, and the more they commit, the bigger the difference. I mean, just imagine what we can do with the school and how we can change this country if we get the backing and the support of our old boys. I mean, it'll be next level. So I'm super pumped and excited. I'm sort of struggling to contain myself here.
I thought it was the caffeine. No, so I think the other thing I like about this is that we even get people who are not old boys. They are grannies of old boys. They are parents of old boys. They are guys who went to other schools who probably wish deep down that they could have come to Pretoria Boys High School, but they didn't. But they can get involved now, and they can help leave this legacy. And I think that's the part that really excites me. The question that a lot of old boys have asked, and I think there are maybe some detractors from the program maybe who may be asking, well, why don't we just do it ourselves? And I think the answer is pretty easy. Well, the first thing is we haven't. That's the first one. We've had years to do something and we haven't. But I think the easiest answer is that the South African Hall of Fame have an enormous network of corporates that they work with each and every day that would, under normal circumstances, have no connection whatsoever or no desire whatsoever to give money to Pretoria Boys High School, as well as this network of high-profile sports stars, ex-Springboks, ex-Bafana Bafana players, ex-swimmers, ex-athletes, the list goes on, who they now roping in to raise awareness of making high-quality education available for under-resourced young boys. And I think that's why we're using the Hall of Fame as a vehicle, is because they've got this network to tap into. Tell us a little bit about the network, what they've done so far.
I mean, they've opened doors for us that we'd never imagine being able to open. And I think the big one for me is the fact that they've got their CEO Cycle Challenge, which is taking place in a couple of months' time. You've seen the celebrities, or you and I might be aware of the celebrities involved there, but you know, you've got John Smith, Mark Fish, Lucas Radebe, and you see that advert on SuperSport, and you realize to what lengths these guys are going for our school. We are not capable of creating that kind of awareness. No. They are doing it for us because they believe in what we stand for, and they love working with us, and they just want to see Boys High thrive and do well, and more importantly, they want to see young men lead our country in the near future.
I think what's important is one of the things that Hall of Fame have said consistently is they don't want to improve South Africa, they want to change South Africa, and this is about sports primarily, getting sports talented young men in the school, but it's really about equipping those guys with skills that they would not have gotten in their life to even one day, if and when they become famous or not famous, that they still come out there with a world-class education really to make a difference in this country and to change the landscape of this country. So what I'd encourage you to do is I'd encourage you to hit the link below, go onto the website and make a decision there about which of these 3 options sits best with you. If you're in a position to spend your SED, BE spend with the Hall of Fame initiative at Pretoria Boys High School, then hit that button. If you want to make a once-off donation, there's that one. But if you want to make a pledge on a monthly basis over 12 to 48 months at just 50 Rand a month, that's what we're asking. If you want to give more, then so be it. But if just 50 Rand a month, we would appreciate it. But let me tell you, the difference you're going to make in the lives of many, many, many young men in years to come is just, you can't calculate it. There's no value put to it. So hit the link below, get online, and become part of the program and make a difference.